Good evening, folks. This is vk3sl. Welcome to this afternoon. Just running a little bit late. Life got in the way, so just dealing with a couple of necessities at the coalface, and should be on board for a bit of a programmatics shortly. Now, what we'll do is we'll play something a bit unusual, something I was listening to today. This is the music of Karl-Heinz Stockhausen, a very early work of his. Now, I might have to sort of follow on with something else of his after, because I'm still dealing with a couple of little teething problems with pickups and so on. And so we'll hear Stockhausen's Chorale. This is a work he wrote in 1950, and it's nothing like the music he wrote later on. Actually shows that he could write quite interesting harmonies and in the conventional style. So let's hear the music of Stockhausen. And that was the music of Stockhausen, Karl-Heinz Stockhausen, great German composer, who sort of wrote in more contemporary. He's renowned for his weird and wonderful creations. and Flights of Imagination. He literally, in fact, he wrote one work for string quartet whereby each member of the quartet was in a separate helicopter flying above the venue, and there was a mix artist inside the venue mixing it all up, and you got the combined sound of the four artists and the sound of the choppers all out of phase doing weird things, both out of the room and in the room. And I should play that. I'll dig it up. But we'll hear another work of his, because I was not quite sorted yet, and we'll find another early work of Stockhausen's. And incidentally, this is a test missions. I'm vk3sl, and we're testing here on 160 and on UHF, and also streaming online. Here's an early work of Stockhausen's, the Sonatine for violin and piano. Don't know about you folks, but I find that work strangely beguiling. It's the music of Stockhausen, very early work, and sort of before he was a big figure on the block. But a sonatine for violin and piano. There's more of it, but we'll save that for another time. I might even do a late night missions. In fact, I think we have in the past done one on Stockhausen's music, including his some of his early pieces as well. But I'd like to revisit the topic. Anyhow, I'm vk3sl and we're testing here on 160 and on UHF and also streaming online. Oh, sorry, I've got the channel open now. So, Frank, if you're there, you can chime in. I'm not sure if you are or not today. Can't recall. But anyhow, we are ready to go. If you're not around, doesn't matter because we can just keep riffing as we do. Just sifting through 78s. And what I thought I'd try today, and this is the sort of reason for the delay at the start, is I want to follow on with our Hill and Dale theme. On Friday night we played a stack of Edison diamond discs. These records were produced between about 1912 and the late 1920s. And they're interesting records. They were about a quarter of an inch thick, and they're Hill and Dale, and they run at about speed 80. And he had quite a silent surface, but by being Hill and Dale, it meant that unless you've got a very quiet turntable, you'll get lots of rumble in the vertical axis. You have to wire up your cartridge out of phase for them to work. Yeah, but anyhow, I've still got that out of phase cart set up, but I did take time to realign it, and that's what took up so much time before. So, yeah.
Good afternoon.
Hello there, Frank. How are you?
Very well, thank you. And you?
Yeah, good. Yeah, all recovered. Yeah, so I was just sort of padding a bit, actually. I was just, we've still got the Hill and Dale set up ready here, so I thought I'd follow on and play a few more of those today. But since I spoke to you last, we've did a terrific walk yesterday.
Oh, great.
Yeah, up on the Central Highlands, and it's so good to be in a eucalypt forest. And it was just magic. And lyrebirds, and we heard quite a few lyrebirds, and even saw one going across the road.
Didn't record it.
I did actually. I recorded some
done.
lyrebird sounds, and I can feature them. It's a very real possibility.
Why not?
What can I see if I can do this here and now? I'll just get my phone, and I recorded the sound of the lyrebird. I also made a recording in Yarragon the other day of the lyrebird, and that was particularly strong. That was about 2 weeks ago, but yesterday's lyrebird is here. And what do I need to do? I just have to make sure I've got the right channel. Got a flying lead here, and we'll switch that one in. And I just have to make a few little changes on the fly here, and we should have a result. So if I play this now, it's about a minute of lyrebird sounds.
While you're fixing that up, I'll just say this is VK3JR, now in contact with VK3SL.
Indeed, that's the name of the game. Now, are we on the right channel here? So you might have heard some of that. I don't know if it came through on air.
So it was a very good, perfect whipbird imitation.
Yes, it was. And the one the other day came out, the one I did 2 weeks prior, if I can get this dial up, is even stronger. This was on the 2nd of July. Have a listen to this one. Okay, I'll have to stop there because it's going into oscillation, unfortunately. But you probably got some idea.
Oh, yeah, look, it's remarkable, isn't it?
Yeah, I love it. I love just sitting there and listening to the sound of the lyrebird and the echo in the forest. It's just one of the, experiences that I just want to keep revisiting. So that was a highlight. And
Just amazing their capacity to make so many different sounds.
yeah,
Apart from the mimicking thing, just the ability to make that level of, the variety of sound.
that's it. And they're sort of super real, and that's the way you can tell them apart
Yes.
because they sound exactly like the other bird, but it's in greater clarity and
It's better than the other. It's
is.
doing what the other bird does, but better.
yeah, that's exactly it. It's incredible, absolutely amazing. So yeah,
It's doing like the other bird wishes it could.
yeah, exactly. It's got it all worked out. In fact, on the walk we did, I know there's some great lyrebird stories about that walk because part of it was along an old timber tramway, which in the early 20th century was used. Sort of light rail logging tracks because there was a vast array of logging interfaces in the forest. And these tracks were linked up to mills, bush mills, and so on. A lot of the bush mills were burnt out in the 1939 fires.
Oh, yes. I've heard
And
that.
but there were these communities deep in the bush at that time. Anyhow, the lyrebirds mimicked the sounds of the axes cutting the trees
Yeah.
and the sounds of the trains, and they passed them on to the next generation. And until the 1970s, you could still hear. And I remember going on a scout walk in the 70s when I was a kid and hearing the sound of axes cutting into trees. And it was the sounds passed down by the lyrebirds.
Didn't realise they passed them down.
Apparently that's the case.
Incredible.
Yeah, there's that sharp punctuating sound of the axe hitting the tree.
I've heard them doing axes.
Yeah.
And it's indistinguishable.
It is. It's incredible. But apparently, I remember at that time, it was a topic of interest, and the scout leaders we were with, they'd done the same walks in the 50s, and they said that they were mimicking the sound of the steam trains.
Yeah, it's amazing.
This is incredible. So you're walking along this defunct railway track with no rails anymore, and you hear a train coming.
You heard them do telephone bells.
Yeah, I believe they do. It's
It's
incredible.
perfect. I mean, it's very disconcerting, actually.
Yes. Absolutely phenomenal. Well, maybe we'll do a lyrebird feature, see if we can find some samples online of lyrebirds mimicking known sounds and whatever. But it's
I
always
don't know of another living thing that can have that flexibility to be able to imitate everything.
Yeah.
Just about anything.
I know.
So well, perfectly.
Yeah. There must be examples of it mimicking language and speaking as well.
It has to be.
Yeah.
I'm sure they can do it if they want to.
Yes. They're a very large bird. They're about the size of a chook.
Oh, are they?
Yeah, and so they're a funny thing. They don't fly very high. They're sort of they can fly a little bit, but not a great deal.
Got big tails, haven't
Yeah,
they?
huge.
That's the lyre.
Yes, the lyre is the shape of the traditional lyre, the harp, with some very magnificent tail feathers. I think it's the male that has the tail feathers. So.
Yeah.
Yeah,
He does obviously the sound. Can the female do sounds, do you?
I don't know, Frank. I don't. I'd be keen to find out. I'd like to learn more about the lyrebird. I just know its distinctive sound and it freezes me on the spot.
No, there's nothing like it, is
Yeah,
it?
it's just fascinating. Yes.
I went to Sherbrooke, I think I might have said when I was a kid. I went
Yes.
once with a recorder, and a friend with a recorder.
Okay, and you recorded the sounds?
7 o'clock on a freezing June morning.
Oh, my goodness me.
Sherbrooke Forest, 7
can
o'clock, standing there,
Yes.
shivering.
Shivering, waiting for it to happen. Were you rewarded? Did you have the experience?
Yes, beautiful. And
Tremendous.
the tape recorder was a thing called a sound mirror.
Oh, sound mirror. I haven't
That
heard
was
of
the
that.
name of it.
Okay.
And, it was a big reel-to-reely thing,
Yeah,
but obviously ran on 12 volts.
on bats. Okay, right.
It had a lead coming from the car, I remember.
Oh my gosh, a sound mirror. I'm going to write this down, look it up. Sound mirror. Sounds fascinating.
It was.
Good one. Oh, have you still got the tape?
No, I never had the tape.
Ah.
It belonged to Jeff, to my friend.
Okay.
And it wasn't so easy to... Well, I didn't have anything to play it on anyway.
I wonder if he's still got it. Is he still around?
No, he's gone.
He's gone. Okay. Yeah.
He did law.
Did he?
Yeah.
Okay, really? Oh, I wonder if it's somewhere in his family. I mean, what a great thing to do. What an amazing initiative.
Absolutely.
Dragging all the heavily gear out there at that time. I wonder if he used a parabolic dish to record.
Yes, I think he did. Well, his
Right.
dad did. What would he? He'd have been 17, and I was 15, I think.
Oh, right. Okay.
Yeah.
Fascinating. Yeah. Gosh. Amazing. I know that the old 77DX RCA mic I've got here, which is, I've got a few old mics, and that's a bit of a special one. It's a classic microphone, but apparently it belonged to a field naturalist. And it was one of, so it was used out for that type of thing. But I can't imagine using a 77DX to record live birds. But maybe more for incidental sounds. You need something that's very, very sensitive to pick up the ambience.
I've actually got a parabolic dish. It's about a metre.
Oh, right.
It's quite serious parabolic.
Yeah.
But I've never used it for anything.
Okay. Wow.
I bought it for that sort of purpose.
Yes.
But I never got around to doing it.
Okay.
Fitting a mic to it.
Yeah. It'd be an interesting project. It gives you a real lens, doesn't it?
Totally.
So you can really extract those sounds out of the forest.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've been very happy with that little clipping mics that I got from Britain. I use them to record the kids' concerts and clip them onto my hat.
Oh, excellent.
But they've got amazing signal to noise. They're really, really quiet. So if you use them with a quiet preamp, you can really get excellent nature sounds.
Terrific signal to noise.
Yeah. So I haven't used them in that capacity yet, but I think it's something I'd like to try and do. So
I might get one, actually.
yeah, it's worth getting. They're not expensive at all, and it's sort of an every person's clone of a much more expensive dedicated type capsule.
But all you need really is, we need something a bit better. You don't need the absolute best.
That's right, exactly. The thing is, the weak link, of course, is the preamp. You need a very, very
quiet preamp. Yeah.
So, but the little Sony hand recorder that I use, the preamps are pretty damn good in that. They're very good, in fact.
I've got a whole lot of little recorders.
Okay.
Sure. A couple of Sonys, but mainly. I can't think
the
of
Zooms.
Zoom, thank you, Zoom. Yeah.
Yes, the Zooms are good. I remember at the time when I got mine, it was probably about 10 years ago. I got them because of the preamps were well reviewed. And they certainly work very well. It's great in concerts, and they've got a very good limiter in them, so it doesn't pump.
It doesn't overmodulate.
Exactly. So you can, very good for concerts. Yeah. All right. Well, look, we'll have our Hill and Dale sample. Following on from the other night, there are a number of sort of foxtrotty 20s hits in that batch, and I didn't play them the other night because I thought I'd save them up for now. It's just a couple. And this one is particularly interesting. I had sampled it before, and it says on the label the Golden Gate Orchestra. Now, I've since looked them up, and the Golden Gate Orchestra was, in fact, the California Ramblers. And there's an excellent alto sax solo on this record, really, really excellent solo. And I thought, who the heck that is? And I was looking through the discography for the California Ramblers, and none else than a very, very young Jimmy Dorsey. So, yeah, he's evidently the soloist on this record. So we'll play it. Have a listen. See what you think. So, an Edison Diamond disc from about 1926, and the name of the tune is Collegiate.
is a polka. Each and every smoker. We're collegiate, rah, rah, rah. Bryn Mawr, Vassar, chocolate frappes, wow. These are all the colleges that we belong to. Rah, rah, collegiate.
We have the California Ramblers on the label as the Golden Gate Orchestra and collegiate. So there's a big thing about collegiate life, college life in the 20s. It was sort of romanticised. And I think both Harold Lloyd made a film about college life, and so did Buster Keaton in the mid-1920s, and I think it helped popularise the whole thing. So, a bit of emancipation in young people getting a voice. But interesting record that, because of the solos. Now, by all accounts, that is Jimmy Dorsey played the alto solo on that. And a beautifully balanced solo. And also Red Nichols is on that record too, apparently. And so, interesting one there. The Golden Gate Orchestra. Now, I'll do a flip-o-matic and we'll find out what's on the other side. The side is Billy Wynn's Greenwich Village Inn Orchestra. They're all pseudonyms. It could have been anyone. And I haven't investigated this, but it could be a bit of fun. Another Edison Diamond disc from about 1926. The sound of that last record could almost be 1925. It's that early, very punctuated style of playing.
Yes.
Yeah, but we'll hear the other side, see if it's any different. And I don't know who Billy Wynn was, or who the Greenwich Village Inn Orchestra were, but they're on the label. So we'll go back to... Whoops. Yeah, hard to cue these records because the hill and dale and the grooves are so close together. I think we're ready. I'm vk3sl. have an extended version. That's one thing about these Edison Diamond discs. You got more playing time. And the other advantage of these records is they didn't wear out because they were played by a floating diamond stylus. And being Hill and Dale and with a tracking mechanism, it meant that the records could be, you didn't have to change the needle, and they theoretically lasted forever. So they do actually, as long as they haven't been played by a conventional pickup, which tends to destroy them, they do present very nicely. So there we have it. The Billy Wine's Greenwich Village Inn Orchestra on an Edison Diamond disc. Just playing a few more diamond discs while we've got the system set up for these. And another one is the Happiness Boys, Billy Jones and Ernie Hare. They made thousands of records in the 20s, sort of a comedic duo. And this song is quintessentially 1920s. In fact, it's one of these songs that was revamped in the 50s and 60s and it became sort of a caricature of the style, I suppose you could say. But this is the original, and we'll have a listen now to Billy Jones and Ernie Hare and their rendition of Don't Bring Lulu.
Oh, yeah.
Bit of a fave. I'm vk3sl.
vk3sl.
Attend a party down at my house tonight.
Is that an invitation without a stipulation?
There's just one stipulation.
I thought I had you right.
I draw the line on just one woman.
Who can I invite?
You can bring Pearl, she's a darn nice girl, but don't bring Lulu.
Can I bring Nan?
Bet your life you can, but don't bring Lulu.
Lulu has the kind of smile that makes fellas walk a mile.
And when she struts her stuff around, London Bridge is falling down.
If I bring cake and porterhouse steak, can I bring Lulu?
Lulu gets blue and she goes cuckoo like the clock upon the shelf.
She's the kind of smarty who breaks up every party.
Hullabaloo, don't bring Lulu, I'll bring her myself. We both went to a party, a real high-toned affair.
And then along came Lulu, as wild as any Zulu.
She started into Charleston, and how the boys did stare.
But when she did the hula hoop, then she got the air.
You can bring cake with the wooden legs, but don't bring Lulu.
Can I bring by with the old glass eye?
But don't bring Lulu. Lulu eats just like a horse, sauerkraut and garlic sauce.
I smelled onions on her breath, and I cried myself to death. Can I bring Ruth with a rubber too?
But don't bring Lulu. Lulu's okay, but when she gets gay, you should see the cops arrive.
When she starts in singing, police clubs start in swinging. Hullabaloo, don't bring Lulu, not while she's alive. You could bring Flo, cause the pa's got go, but don't bring Lulu. You could bring Min and a double chin, but don't bring Lulu. Lulu thinks she's doing fine when she sings Sweet Adeline. Oh, but when she hits high C, she drives out the family. You can bring sweets and pickled pig's feet, but don't bring Lulu. Lulu goes bouts and she chews up rugs when she yells, ain't this a lie?
She's the kind starts yawning.
We won't go home till morning. Hullabaloo, don't bring Lulu, she might know the wife. Say, Bill, I don't see why I can't bring Lulu. She's a nice girl. And say, Bill, would you call Lulu a flapper?
Sure, but I've got a new name for flappers.
What is it, Bill?
Well, I call them bungalows.
Bungalows? Why do you call them bungalows?
Well, because they're shingled in back, painted in front, and they have no attic.
You could bring Claire with her I don't care, but don't bring Lulu. You could bring Lil, she's an awful pill, but don't bring Lulu. Lulu has the sweetest smile, she's just laughing all the while. When she looks at her best,
One eye looks east,
and the other looks west. You could bring Tripe, provided it's right, but don't bring Lulu. Lulu makes noise when she's with the boys, so be sure to get in touch.
She's the kind that teases.
And then does what she pleases. Hullabaloo, don't bring Lulu, she talks too darn much.
Well, that was an interesting rendition. We got the full scope of it there. Hearing
I
all
heard
of-
most of those lyrics.
Yes, that's
They're very good.
Yeah, they are. They're very clever. It's classic vaudeville, isn't it?
Oh,
Really.
yeah.
Yeah, and
They were the singers, of course.
yes, definitely. They actually sang very well in tune. Could you hear them ringing when they were spot on? There was a really good close harmony with the Happiness Boys. I would love to have heard them, with a modern recording because they synergise.
It reminded me of Flotsam and Jetsam.
Yes, very much so. Yeah, same ilk. Yeah, similar style of presentation, haven't they?
Very.
Yeah. So we'll have to dig up some Flotsam and Jetsam. Haven't played any of them.
Oh, they're great.
They are good. All right, we'll just play one more of these, and here we go. Tell Her in the Springtime, Foxtrot and Song from Music Box Review of 1925, Irving Berlin, says on the label. And I don't know anything else about the Broadway Dance Orchestra. They're just a scratch group, probably one of these groups that's just recorded for everyone and had the same contingency of players, session players. But, and it says sung by Charles Hart, whoever he was. The names mean nothing really. But they're interesting, and it's nice to sort of have a chance to sample them. So we'll hear this one, Tell Her in the Springtime. I have no idea what it's going to be like. I didn't check this one first, but that's the name of the game.
Speak of our turn, blossoming, you'll hear a Mendelssohn string song tune. When the moon is shining, you'll speak of her charms. Then it will be smiling to rest in your arms. Don't worry so, she won't answer no if you play Romeo in the spring.
Oh dear, all that hash will give the modulation transformer a run for its money. It was a rather worn copy. That's what happens when you play one of these records with a normal pickup. It tends to just route them. And so, yeah, it's not often easy to tell. Yeah, sometimes it is. But, yeah, that record has had its day. But there we go. That was probably the last time that'll ever be played. But, yeah, it was the Broadway Dance Orchestra recording on an Edison diamond disc. And so we've had a few 20s hits. I reckon we should change gear and move forward a decade. Now, what I've thought was, since we've got the Hill and Dale pickup, the out of phase pickup installed at the moment, we can refer to a few Vitatonics. We haven't had any of these for a while. We played them ad nauseum during the lockdowns. And these are courtesy of Jamie, who very kindly passed his seconds on to me. These are transparent red records made in the early 1930s, and they all feature the wide range Western Electric.
Transparent, are they?
Yeah, they are.
That's
You can see through them. Yeah, I'm holding it up to the light now, and I can see.
Particular type of vinyl.
Yeah, it is. It's probably not that dissimilar to the vinyl they used two decades later. But what's interesting, of course, about these is that it precedes the standard vinyl playback by decades.
Yeah.
And they are transcription records, and they were just used in the radio stations and such. And to circumvent copyright, artists who recorded for the Muzak industry, Muzak AK industry, always went under pseudonyms. But Jamie has all that information at hand, and I've just dialed it up, and I'm able to quickly join the dots and work out who we've got here. Now, on the label it says, on this disc, it says Harvey Tweed and his orchestra. Now, Harvey Tweed, who would that be? But it's none other than Tommy Dorsey. Would you believe?
Yes.
So it's Tommy Dorsey and his orchestra, masquerading as Harvey Tweed, and on a wide-range Western Electric record. Now, these just sound superb. Now, I'm keen to hear this. This is a bit of an experiment, because earlier on when we played these, I used the Beyer. Beyer's very rumbly, and it's a great turntable, good fun to use, but they are super rumbly, and being a Hill and Dale pickup groove array, it tends to accentuate all of the rumble, and so the rumble's so bad that it can sort of knock the needle out of the groove. Now the SP10 is crystal locked, and it's an outstanding turntable, so we should be able to get a lot better bass I can dial up the bass without having any major effects. So we'll see how this goes. And that was one of the reasons I aligned the cartridge before the program today, so we could just test a few of these. So yeah, we'll hear Harvey Tweed, and they're locked grooves, so I have to give it a nudge in between, but it's got a lot of stamps over the label. It's very hard to read. Where Am I? And In the Dark. So recorded for the Associated Music Publishers in New York. And these records were in the collection of 3AW, and now Jamie proudly holds the stash, and I have the doubles. So let's tune in. Hi-Fi from the early 1930s. Got to get the speed right there. They're not 78s, they're 33s. So, take two. Tommy Dorsey, and I think that was Edith Wright. Now, the next track on this disc is In the Dark, so I'm going to give it a nudge, and we'll move over. Oops. Sorry, that was a bit...
Okay. All good.
In the dark, you and I, not a sound, not a sigh, just the beat of our hearts in the dark. In the dark, what a thrill, fingertips on my lips, telling me to be still in the dark. Soon the dance will be ending, we're sure to be missed. Ah, but I'm not pretending, it's fun to be kissed. In the dark we will find what the rest left behind. Let them dance, we'll romance in the dark.
Hi-Fi from the 1930s and the music of Tommy Dorsey. Very sweet, very slick ensemble. Great to hear. And
Lovely sound.
oh, they just got a remarkable sound. Captivating.
I'm only hearing treble up to about 6K because of the filter on the radio here, but it sounds so clean.
It is clean, and here it just sounds like perfect hi-fi.
I remember.
Yeah. It's astonishing, really. They had it all worked out. It just took a long time for the domestic market to catch up. I suppose you've got to scale things up, and everyone was happy with their portable gramophones, and the difficulty, I suppose, is you've got to introduce an entirely new medium, and it just takes time. That's the problem we have with vehicles and various things now, I suppose.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Well, I wonder why they preferred the Hill and Dale without.
Yeah.
The technique of Hill and Dale wasn't it seen to be as good as side to side, was it?
I reckon it's the rumbly turntables.
Okay.
I think so, because it really kicks. It's if you've got any rumble at all, it's just you can't really experience much bass because it's just overwhelmed by the resonances.
Without understanding very much about it, I would have thought that you could have a narrower groove, Hill and Dale.
Yes, definitely you do, and these records are, well, they're standard grooves, but by all accounts, I know certainly on cylinders, you can fit a lot of information on a single cylinder running at 160, as they do.
Yeah.
So yes, the narrower groove is an advantage, but I know there are other types of distortion. Other people more knowledgeable about this can speak to this fact, but there are other distortion artifacts which are not necessarily reconcilable for the audio purist.
And then there's the issue of putting two channels on when you want to do that.
Yes.
Lateral is more suitable.
That's
for
right,
that.
because one was on the 45-degree axis, I think, and the way they tuned the lateral stereo array.
Yeah.
It was something of that kind. But look, I'll play the other side of this. It's a particularly interesting record. This might be more upbeat. I think it is. I'm not sure. It doesn't give us any information about the vocalist. I know Edith Wright was working with Tommy Dorsey in this period. But these are, particularly interesting, these records, simply because they just, there's space around them. You hear ambience and you hear the sparkle. It's just phenomenal, amazing stuff. So again, Harvey Tweed, aka Tommy Dorsey, and the orchestra will carry on with side B, and there is a locked groove, so I've got to give it a nudge, and I haven't quite got the elegance right with the SP10 yet, but we'll do the best we can. And they sound particularly good on this turntable. I might make some dubs and see if I can make some for Jamie in time too.
Great.
One umbrella for two can be a cozy rendezvous. The patter of the rain makes a lover's lane of a crowded avenue. Cloudy skies are so blue for those who wander two by two. But I don't see the sun, I'm the only one neath one umbrella for two. Raindrops teeming on every happy pair. They go dreaming, everyone a rainbow millionaire. One umbrella for two can be a cozy rendezvous. But no one seems to see there's no one here with me neath one umbrella for two.
tiny little stars, that you should be the one to love me. In your horoscope lies my only hope of love. I see by every sign our love would be divine if we could face the world together. You and only you can make my dream come true, sweetheart. If you seek happiness, a perfect happiness, the kind I can see, your place is in my arms, forever in my arms, until eternity. It's written in the stars, those tiny little stars, you should be the one to love me. Don't let romance wait, we're in the hands of fate. I know because it's written in the stars.
Tommy Dorsey and the band, and I believe that was Edith Wright. She's not credited on the label, nor is the artist in the first track there, which I think is Cliff Weston. 2 recordings with Tommy Dorsey. Yeah, wow, what a sound. Oh, I'm just in awe of that sound. It really changes the whole perception. I'm so accustomed to thinking 78s sound a certain way, certain congealed sound, which is great. I love that compressed sort of in-your-face experience. It has its own signature. But hearing it sort of teased out and hearing the brushes on the drums and hearing the spatial elements of the band is that they must have had a multi-channel mixer, because there's not much cross reference between the different mics. It has got space, even if it's a mono recording.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
It's easy to forget what you're missing when you don't hear it for a while, isn't it?
It's so true. I think your ears accustom very quickly to the experience of just the music for its own sake.
And then when you hear it all again, you're reminded very sharply.
Yes, indeed, absolutely. But this is astonishing, really. I mean, this is hi-fi from 90 years ago. Really, they had it all worked out. So they must have had an imagination for how things were going to evolve. But they would have known. I mean, their setups there they would have been listening back to this in extraordinary fidelity and thinking, okay, well, the public are not going to hear it like this on the whole. They'll be listening in their radiogram and wireless speakers. But in 20 years' time, we know what we're capable of doing. So, it's an interesting sort of thought, really.
Very interesting indeed.
Yeah.
But you'd think perhaps for public performances, I don't mean live performances, but for playing records in a public setting, there'd be a use for it.
Yeah, I suppose so. I'd be interested to know what the cinema experience was like.
Yeah, that sort of thing.
Yeah. I think because most cinema was soundtracks on film.
On the film itself,
that was a limited, and that involved a lot of compression. And I think when you listen to those Vitaphone, not Vitatone, but Vitaphone records from the 20s, which is sort of being revisited now, the fidelity on some of those is astonishing, and it's similar to what we're hearing now. And but that was not a practical system, of course. You can't queue up records to every so
not really.
No, but I think the trade-off was audio fidelity.
Sure.
And I think compression was a big part of the thing. If they could compress the sound and make it sound present and immediate, and even if it was super in your face, the proverbial wall of sound.
That's it.
Look, I'll play this one more. I've been reminded that we're heading off shortly. We're going to see Oppenheimer tonight.
Are you?
The whole fam, yes.
I've been thinking. I'd be very interested to know what you think of it.
Yeah, I'll give you a report.
I've been thinking of Oppenheimer.
Oh, yeah, you must go. You must go. And
Yeah.
I'll looking forward to it immensely. So all 7 of us.
Oh, that's wonderful.
We're all bussing down to the
Very
local
often
cinema.
you get together.
No,
all
it's a rare event, and
it's hard to do, I imagine.
Yeah.
The logistics would be pretty hard.
well, logistics are difficult, but everyone was in for it.
Great
So so we're down to our local cinema, and we'll have our Oppenheimer experience. Now, there's a number of people in the family who want a Barbenheimer experience as well.
Oh, yes.
Because apparently it's funny how these memes sort of surface. There's a trend now for young people to see the Barbie film followed by the Oppenheimer film in one
That's
session.
right.
Yeah.
Isn't that interesting?
Now, by all accounts, a number of my family have seen the Barbie film,
Yeah.
quotes, and apparently it's they've done a sort of it's almost a marketing miracle to reinvent the Barbie archetype.
Yeah.
And present this individual as as someone who's vulnerable and
It's been just about everything you could possibly think of.
yeah, and a bit postmodern. So we're sort of seeing Barbie in a different guise and Ken in a different guise. So that's my kids are urging me, and Olivia and B say you must see the Barbie film because you won't believe. Yeah, they think
been done with her,
what's been
to
done.
her.
Yeah, how she's been reinvented. So
Yeah,
it's probably interesting to sort of see this as in terms of a social shift of attitudes, because the original Barbie was nothing short of scandalous in the way it caused so many young people to aspire to a certain image.
I'm afraid so.
Yeah, over generations.
And, there were lives taken and things.
Oh, totally. Absolutely. I mean, it's an absolute scandal. But now it's sort of moving into a totally different space where that's all being parodied and reframed.
Good, really.
Yeah, it is good. It's
Seems
clever.
healthy, doesn't it?
Well, it does. It just shows how. So things like this are the sort of the social barometer in a way. They sort of show us how the big machines behind all are moving to
In fact, parodying the image is probably the best way to destroy the bad thing, itself.
Totally. Yeah, it is. So the whole sort of archetype is moving into a different space. So it's absolutely fascinating. So I'll have to watch that too.
Oh, good.
Even Henry wants to watch it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he's keen. So next record, I'll play just one more side because I do have to wind. We're heading off in about 15 minutes.
Yeah, I've got to go on here as well.
Yeah. So we'll just hear 2 tracks. This one is Brad Collins and his orchestra, which is, I've just checked it, it's Bob Crosby and his orchestra. So it's not Brad Collins, but Bob Crosby.
BC, yeah.
Yeah, BC, they often did that. And we'll have another hi-fi experience from 1930 mumble, about 1932, 33 thereabouts. And 2 tracks. Oh, look there, she's pretty. And the next one is A Melody from the Sky. So I'll play these in a short back announce and then we'll wind up operations for today. So, not easy to cue these records. I haven't worked that one out yet, but I think we're more or less in the groove. I'm vk3sl.
vk3sl.
Might need a nudge.
Look at the hair Isn't she pretty? She looks like a beautiful wax doll, and you are bound to fall. I like the dress, I like the holes, I like the hat, I like the pose. Oh, look at that, ain't she pretty?
Everywhere its music fills the air. All nature seems to hum a melody from the sky. Over on the hill I see a whippoorwill. I hear his song become a melody from the sky. And there's a bluebird singing to his lady love above, a love song taken from the whispering breeze in the trees. Love is everywhere, its music fills the air. All nature seems to hum a melody from the sky.
Well, there we have it. That was Brad Collins, aka Bob Crosby and the band. And, yeah, some hi-fi resonances from 1930 mumble. About 33, 34, thereabouts.
Love all that reverb.
Oh, it's fabulous. But it's done in, I reckon it's done in the RCA studios. And it's at that point in time, I think reverb was a good thing. Later on, it was sort of shunned a little bit.
Yeah, well, a lot of American stuff was very dry, wasn't it?
It was, by nature, yes.
Almost, to me, a little too dry.
I agree.
Can sound a bit claustrophobic.
I agree. It's just too sort of acerbic.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. But these just have a lovely natural ambience. I refer people to the stream if you've listened to it on air and you haven't got wide range speakers. I refer to the stream. Just have a listen back. It just sounds absolutely astonishing. It's
Yeah, on some
amazing.
good headphones.
Yeah, it really is incredible stuff. And so, yeah, there's quite a collection to be looked at in time. So we'll wind up today and back again next Friday as per usual. I think next weekend's all okay for a reliable set of missions.
Yeah, I think I am as well.
Yeah, terrific. And I wish you a good week, Frank. Thank you.
And you and family, and enjoy tonight.
Oh, yeah, looking forward to it very much. Yeah,
Wait,
should be
you're
good.
looking forward to the review.
Yeah, well, we'll have something to say, and I've been intrigued by this film. It's got a lot of press, and it's not as technical as I possibly would have liked.
No, it's less about what he did and more about him, I think.
I think it's the case, yes. I've heard a number of reviews which have pointed that out. I was hoping to see the Manhattan Project in its sort of... It's incremental development.
He was
but
right in the middle of it.
He was, indeed. But I think we'll get the broader social spectrum, so that should be interesting anyhow.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so we'll be back next week, and thank you, and thanks to the listeners, and we'll look forward to your company next time, next Friday. Should be all good. Okay, thanks, Frank. All the best to you
Steve
and your family.
vk3sl, clear.
And vk3sl saying cheerio for now, and you listen back to the stream if you want some hi-fi. It is truly beguiling.
All nature seems to hum a melody from the sky.